What's going on, family? How y'all doing? Today is Sunday. I do believe June the 30th, maybe. Today's the last day of June, or so they say. And I look refreshed, don't I? Burden lifted off my shoulders, let me tell you. um, I had interviewed for a position for a well-known oil and gas company, and was made an offer. So I start my journey back in oil and gas in the next week. So I'm super excited. You can tell a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I was doing something that I was very, uh, I like what I do, but with the company that I was with, I was very unhappy. So all things worked out well for me. I have a very positive attitude, and I'm looking forward to getting back into the office around people where I have this, my home office, as for history, extraterrestrial research, our forbidden past, our hidden past, the occult knowledge. This is what this space is for, and that's what it's always intended to be. So I'm super excited. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to jump on here really quick and do a book unboxing, right? And maybe do a short read. So this is not going to be too long of a video. I'm going to keep my eye on the time. So, of course, I'm a Amazon Prime person. I saw this gentleman on Sean Ryan show, The Reaper. Nicholas Irving with Gary Brozak. Okay, he one of the deadliest special ops snipers. I think I posted the actual full length video on my Facebook page. So yeah, I had to get the story. I think he had like something like 36 confirmed kills, maybe more, but I'm sure he had more. And then also I got another set of books that came in, and I do have another shipment that's coming. I am going to cease ordering after this shipment arrives this week. I got another one the first week of July, or the second week of July it's coming in. But I'm going to cease ordering because I do need to get on the bookshelf, because I have books in the garage that I'm going to have to bring in, and I'm going to have to kind of figure out how to maneuver this office, because my previous home was a lot larger. The office was much larger, and I had more space. This one is very cramped, and my furniture is very big. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to be able to get a bookcase in here. And, it's going to be a challenge. So anyway, I'm going to cease ordering for a minute. But I wanted to share these with you. This one, book, the Black People Invented Everything. Zoology, Biology, Clothing School, Dr. Sujan Kumar Das, the founder of the Solutionary Institute. The title of this is a misnomer. See, there again, I guess because Chief is my big brother, I listen, I go back and watch his older videos. I'm paying attention to stuff. Incidentally, Chief, I thought I was going to be able to get down there with you and visit with you a day or two before I start this new gig, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. So maybe when you get settled in Tucson, when I get some vacation time, if at all possible, maybe I could come see you then, big brother. But anyway, we're still eternally bonded regardless. This misnomer here, black. We're not black. So I saw this and I was like, I'm going to get this, even though I know that this person is still indoctrinated in the system and still believes the lies. I really thought that I was really going to be able to, and this is something that I'm going to have to really read and sit down, and I may do like a short video over this. This here, I just want to show you this picture. Look at the tattoos. The more things change, the more they stay the same. You see this? So my point is, it's within our DNA, and this is going to be a fabulous read. And this is something that I'm going to share with my grandkids too, for sure. Another one that I got, Black Skin, White Mask by Franz Fanon, author of The Wretched of the Earth, a strange haunting melange of analysis, revolutionary manifesto, metaphysics, prose, poetry, and literary criticism, and yet the nakedness of the human cries. Sorry. And this is the book here. So I saw this and I was like, yeah, because of the reviews on it. I got a couple of other books Chief had put up on the screen, and I ordered a couple of them, so I'm going to share with that, you guys. This is going to be a phenomenal read. So, yeah. So these are the 3 books that I got. So, The Reaper, Black Skin, White Masks, Black People Invented Everything. And it may look as though I am, to some of my light-skinned brothers and sisters, it may look like I'm pro-black and put black and everything in first. It's not that I am pro-black, and I want to clarify that. It is because I am realizing and understanding the truth, okay? And when you start to do your research, you start going down the rabbit hole, you see how things have been manipulated, right? So it's not about pushing the so-called black narrative, because we're not black, we're indigenous. It's the fact that this history has been purposely manipulated to hide the truth about our race, about our people. True enough, number one thing, we're all sentient beings. But when you come into these avatar bodies, you got to understand you're off the bat conditioned, you're off the bat programmed, right? Everyone is, no matter your race, color, creed, sex, whatever. You're programmed and you're conditioned because you're nurtured in a perverse lie. This is a perversion that we live in, you guys. It's not the truth. We're not walking in our truth. We're not walking in our light. And so with that being said, I want to read something to you guys. I stopped at the Neville Goddard collection, and I believe I was still in the section that talked about at your command, right? So I'm just going to start off where we stopped. And it says, therefore, a very good practice before you enter into your meditation is first to free every man in the world from blame. For law is never violated, and you can rest confidently in the knowledge that every man's conception of himself is going to be his reward. So you do not have to bother yourself about seeing whether or not man gets what you consider he should get. For life makes no mistakes and always gives man that which man first gives himself. This brings us to that much abused statement of the Bible on tithing. Teachers of all kinds have enslaved man with this affair of tithing. For not themselves understanding the nature of tithing and being themselves fearful of lack, they have led their followers to believe that a 10th part of their income should be given to the Lord. Meaning, as they make very clear that when one gives a 10th part of his income to this particular organization, he is given his 10th part to the Lord, or is tithing. But remember, I am, in all caps, the Lord. Your awareness of being is the God that you give to, and you ever give in this manner. Therefore, when you claim yourself to be anything you have given that claim or quality to God, and your awareness of being, which is no respecter of persons, will return to you, your pressed down, shaken together, and running over with that quality of attribute which you claim for yourself. Awareness of being is nothing that you could ever name. To claim to God to be rich, to be great, to be loved, to be all wise, is to divine that which cannot be defined. For God is nothing that could ever be named. I'm going to repeat that one more time for the people in the back row. Awareness of being is nothing that you could ever name. To claim God to be rich, to be great, to be loved, to be all wise, is to define that which cannot be defined. For God is nothing that could ever be named. So stop putting God in a box. Our understanding is limited as to what this is. And so this is the stepping or the tipping point of you stepping into your truth, is understanding what you really are. You're this energy, this life force, this consciousness that powers the body. And it powers the body with the Creator because we are co-creators of this reality, right? It's all is mind, all thoughts, all vibration. but we're also understanding we're eternally bonded to the creator of all. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can merely be transformed. These are just vessels. Like if I drive an Acura, I've drove a Ford before. I've drove a Toyota. I've drove an Audi. I've drove a Subaru. I've drove a Volkswagen. Those are just vehicles. These bodies are the same thing. They're just vessels. So until you level up, until you ascend, right? And you understand what this is and allow you to step into your truth, until you allow yourself to step into the truth, you're going to continue to get vehicles. You're going to continue to come back and get vessels. And this is the problem that I have now with these religious teachings all around the world. Yes, I read religious texts. Yes, I still study the Bible. I still read it, and because I understand it's threefold. It's history. It's metaphysical science. It's quantum science, if you want to say. It is. It talks about history. It talks about the inner workings of the man and inner workings of the body. It is all encompassing. It is basic instructions before leaving Earth. And so if you only look at it on one level, that is where your awareness or your understanding is going to stop. So you have to dive deeper. So my point is that God is nothing that we can ever be named. And I agree with this statement. That's number one thing. We still do not, I think the majority of people, especially, and I'm not picking on any certain sect or group, but especially Christians, because I was guilty of it when I was going into these worship places, these worship centers, these buildings, right? And thinking that my faith and my religion was the one true religion and everybody else was going to go to hell. That's the first misnomer. That's the first mistake, right? And then the other one was, though, we're following the teachings of Christ based on what is written. See, and then there again, that's where you lead people astray, because I'm going to say this. We are all basic or innate creatures, and we are creatures of habit. Okay. You do have to have structure, and I believe you do have to have guidance, right? But my point is that when you go into these places, you're allowing these people to teach you what they have learned and what their interpretation is, instead of you understanding it for yourself, right? Sick people go to hospitals to get well. Okay, physically. Spiritually sick people going to churches to become well, so they speak. Same thing. And I know I'm going to get blowback on that, but it's the truth. You're not going to find a spiritually well person attending church. If you do, that person is mentally enslaved and indoctrinated and so far into the belief, into the system, they won't be able to turn it off. The programming worked for these people. Only when you step away and you start questioning things do you understand. Even my children told me, I have 5 sons, if y'all know that. Even all my 5 sons, well, 3 of my 5 sons have told me that they knew it was full of crap. Because, a talking snake, Mom, come on. And, just the things that happen with the rapes and the killings and the murders. They don't teach you certain things in church. You have to read that and you have to ask questions. My kids were asking questions to me that I couldn't explain, and it made me think. I came back with a crafted answer, obviously, but I walked away and I was like, yeah, they're right. I mean, it sometimes out of the mouth of babes is the truth. I mean, it comes seriously. And these children, the children now that are being born, their awareness is spot on. I mean, their comprehension and understanding. Every generation, it gets better. And then some would argue every generation, it gets worse. But I will say it's based on the inoculations, your environment, your nurturing, and how you're grafted in. Seriously. All right, let me get back to this. Enough of my commentary. Just had to say that because a lot of times people still it's not clicking to a lot of people. It's still not clicking. Tithing is necessary, and you do tithe with God. But from now on, give to the only God and see to it that you give him the quality that you desire as a man to express by claiming yourself to be the great, the wealthy, the loving, and the all-wise. We are tethered to the creator of all. The creator of all physically powers these bodies. And it is with our conscious and our awareness. We have been cut off from that side. That's why I say when you step into your truth, you really have to change your diet, change your mindset, change your music, change the people you're around, change your whole life up in order for you to tap into that which is really your truth. Because as long as you participate in this, because I'm walking on both sides, I'm participating in the lie as well too. I think the older you get, the harder it is to acquiesce to that. Because when you start to see things break down and you start to see society for what it is, I separate myself from a lot of people. I don't have a lot of friends. I can count on my hands, both hands, who I consider deep, true friends. And even more so, I can count on my hands as to who I can actually depend on. And I'm just going to be blunt with you. So it's like I have a circle, but I keep that circle small, and it's intentional and it's for a purpose, because I cannot allow myself to go down this rabbit hole of bullshit and continue in the lie. Some will say, well, you're taking a job back in the office and you're continuing to lie. Everything has a means to an end. There's a purpose for me doing that. There's always more than one purpose. There's two sides to every coin. There's really three sides to the truth, right? So I'm doing this for a purpose, right? So it says, do not speculate as to how you shall express these qualities or claims, for life has a way that you as men know not of. Its ways are past finding out. But I assure you, the day you claim these qualities to the point of conviction, your claims will be honored. There is nothing covered that shall not be uncovered. I'm going to repeat that. There is nothing covered that shall not be uncovered. That which is spoken in secret shall be proclaimed from the housetops or the rooftops. That is, your secret convictions of yourself, these secret claims that no man knows of, when really believed, will be shouted from the rooftops in your world. For your convictions of yourself are the words of the God within you, with which words are spirit and cannot return unto you void, but must accomplish whereunto they are sent. You are at this moment calling out of the infinite that which you are now conscious of being. And not one word or conviction will fail to find you. I am the vine, and ye are the branches. Consciousness is the vine, and those qualities which you are now conscious of being are as branches that you fed and kept alive. Just as a branch has no life except it to be rooted in the vine, so likewise things have no life except you be conscious of them. Just as a branch withers and dies if the sap of the vine ceases to flow towards it, so do things in your world pass away if you take your attention from them. Because your attention is as the sap of life that keeps alive and sustains the things of your world. To dissolve a problem that now seems so real to you, all that you do is remove your attention from it. I'm going to repeat it one more time. To dissolve a problem that now seems so real to you, all that you do is to remove your attention from it. In spite of its seemingly reality, turn from it in consciousness, become indifferent, and begin to feel yourself to be that which would be the solution of the problem. For instance, if you are imprisoned, no man would have to tell you that you should desire freedom. Freedom, or rather the desire of freedom, would be automatic. So why look behind the four walls of your prison bars? Take your attention from being imprisoned and begin to feel yourself to be free. Feel it to the point where it is natural. The very second you do so, those prison bars will dissolve. Apply this same principle to any problem. And I'm going to stop it right there. And I'm going to put my little mark here. And 1 second. I cleaned out my desk. Cleaned out my office. And so I still have a few things I need to do, but I'm getting it together. All right. So we read this. Again, reading from the Neville Goddard collection, All the Books of Modern Master. Okay. Now we're going to flip really quick for the last few minutes, and I'm going to get into the Book of Wisdom. And I left off at, oh, wow, we're almost done. The Soul Trap. I think that's where I left off at. Yeah, I did. And let's just go over a couple of things we went last time. So we looked at the map. We looked at the 33 sections of the United Nations, all right? We looked at the Darling Park in Australia. We also talked about the Freemasonry sign, the Freemason sign. We talked about 666, which is 6 carbons, 6 protons, 6 electrons. Is that right? Six protons, electrons, and neutrons, which makes up man, which is 666, a carbon-based entity. The Earth tilts at 23.4 degrees. From a 90-degree angle, that is 66.6 degrees, or 666. The circumference of the Earth is 21,600 nautical miles, which is 6 by 6 by 600, which is 666. The curvature of the Earth, 8 inches per mile square miles, that is 0.666 feet per mile squared. We are supposedly traveling around the sun 66,600 miles per hour, which is 666. And the diameter of the moon is 6 by 6 by 60, which is 2160 or 666. Okay. We also talked about how NASA has been perpetuating this heliocentric model. We talked about the Freemasons who founded or started the heliocentric scam. We talked about what the Freemasonry sign represents, which is the North Star, the sun, and the moon. Okay. We talked about what they had to gain by lying. So I'm going to recap that. What do they gain by lying? To trick you into trusting your senses, which makes you vulnerable to the program. Hiding more land resources, which means everyone would want to move out to fresh land, which we have more land than we could ever have on this plane of existence. And they keep us encircled within these ice walls. There's land beyond the ice walls. And that's a fact. For you scoffers, go look it up and research it. It also means that it makes you subconsciously think that you are not created for a purpose and you are just a coincidence. Hiding the electromagnetism or ether, and that can be used to harness energy, and that's what powers our bodies is the ether, the energy. Okay, keeping your mind stuck and locked into the physical universe of these 5 senses, and training your mind and soul in the simulation. This is what they have to gain. It also talks about Hollywood comes from the actual wood of a holly tree, which are used to create magic wands to cast spells. Hollywood cast spells. That's what you think the television is. Television is to tell a lie with your vision. Programming. You're watching programming on TV. The first fallacy, the first true real step towards awakening is to turn that damn black box off. I use it for research. I do. I use it for research because they tell you what they're going to do before they even do it on the television, on the television. Because they got to get us to buy into it. That's where the programming comes in at. Let's get into Soul Trap. What is the soul? The soul's essence transcends the material realm, serving as the vital force that encompasses all experiences. It is the divine spark, an observer beyond the visible, a conscious entity navigating reality unseen. The celestial essence functions as the all-seeing eye. Perceiving the intricacies of the mind, emotional states, and the sensory realm. It is the being experiencing reality. The soul, as an immortal flame within, empowers the utterance of I am, the letter I. A singular line denoting unity represents the true self, devoid of gender, name, or form. It is the invisible one. The phrases following, the phrase I am, resonates within the dualistic confines of the material world. The soul is experiencing the program being played out on the central nervous system. What is the mind? The perception of the soul's experience is generated by the mind. The mind, within its boundless capacity, opens the door to the limitless possibilities. Every manifestation finds its origin in the individual's mind. Take, for instance, the act of kicking a football. It begins with a decision formed in the mind. All is thought, all is mind, right? We've talked about this many times, where the mind has the capability of project consciousness or the soul into the astral plane. And the dynamic, the soul takes on the role of the observer. The mind acts as the projector, and the body serves as a vessel for the reality you inhabit. Preparing for life after death. All things seen perish, all things that are not seen are immortal. Preparing for life after death is crucial while we are alive. When we depart from this body, we are left with the true state of mind and emotional self. While we are alive, we can cover these things up with distractions. Thanks, Hollywood. That literally means to cast the spell on everybody. California. Incidentally, did you all know that California was named after an autochthonous woman that was my complexion? Did you know that the Queen Khalifa California was named after Queen Khalifa? Yeah. And Europe was named after also a autochthonous female like myself, named after the Queen Europa, who was dark skinned. Yeah, go look that up. They be trying to hide stuff. They do the most. I'm telling you. I'm just dropping out tea. Let's get back to it. So it says, while we are alive, when we depart from the body, we are left with the true state of mind and emotional self. While we're alive, we can cover these things up with distractions such as food, sex, and entertainment. When we are in our raw spirit form, there is no hiding our true state of mind. It is important we kill off the lower nature of ourself before we die, so we don't leave the body with desire, lust, and greed, which may cause us to reincarnate. So not only do they have they have the soul trap set up so perfectly, and the plan is just flawless almost, but we have a choice. It's free will, but they're trying to take our rights away from us, and little by little they are doing that, right? So you got to be smart enough to understand these things. So it says, to prepare for life after death, the individual needs to remove all mental addictions, such as desire for sex, food, addictions, drugs, alcohol, and all things that consist of materialistic pleasure and wants. Instead of having mental addictions to the external world, we need to turn within ourselves and to find love, happiness, and joy within ourselves and not with the material things. So we not only rely on external things to source our happiness and joy. It comes from within, people. It comes from within. The 7 deadly sins, which are lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride, are 7 eternal states that will cause us to operate our lives in the lower 3 chakras. They are also the 7 eternal states that will result in us wanting to reincarnate in the afterlife. You have the ego and you have the soul. And I know I covered this before, but I felt it was really good for me to read this part. Let me get to this last part. The soul trap. The entities manipulating this realm are misleading humanity, fostering a distorted perception of reality. A prominent illustration of the manipulation is the concealment of the authentic cosmology of our realm, commonly referred to as Earth, embracing fallacies, concepts such as the particle universe intertwined with the heliocentric model, confines the mind to a narrow belief in a purely materialistic universe. Present-day teachings lead to 90% of the population erroneously identifying themselves solely with the physical body they inhabit. Yeah. And I identify with this body right now, but I know that I'm more than this. This is just what you see me as on camera, right? Or do you really see me? Do you see me? As previously mentioned, the mind serves as a projector of the soul, acting as a conduit connecting the soul to the body. I'm going to repeat that one more time. As previously mentioned, the mind serves as a projector of the soul, acting as a conduit connecting the soul to the body. By manipulating the mind, these beings or these entities ensnare consciousness within the confines of the physical body, which represents the earth in this context. The body, in essence, serves as a vessel for navigating this realm. The central nervous system functions as a mechanism orchestrating the program that shapes our consciousness experience. Consequently, we are engaged in astral projection and detached from the body. We are, in effect, departing from the earth. The body simulates the reality experienced by the consciousness, and leaving it through astral projection is akin to transcending the earth. Our minds are systematically indoctrinated to hinder access to the metaphysical knowledge concerning the multiverse and the alternate realities beyond our current one. Hence, that's why they don't want us. That's why they don't want us to take DMT, ayahuasca. It's forbidden here in the United States. It's probably forbidden all around the world. I think you can go to certain places and entertain that with shamans and drink a concoction or tea, and you can take that trip or that journey. Also psilocybin, mushrooms, that type of thing. Once you unlock your mind and you get a taste of that which is true, the true pure awareness, you have a life-changing experience. I think you see things from a different realm. You have no other choice but to see what it is. This is why they limit these drugs. And I mean, you say, oh, that's BS, but go look up the research on the government websites, on the CIA, programs that they did with LSD and MK Ultra and all these other things that they've done, because they're aware of this. They use it to their advantage. It's just that we don't have common knowledge of that. That once you start asking questions, then you will see it. Okay, let's wrap this up because I'm at time. So it says, our minds are systematically indoctrinated to hinder access to the metaphysical knowledge concerning the multiverse and alternate realities beyond our current one. Our souls find themselves confined here because the mind lacks the wisdom to project consciousness out of the soul system, a four concept often referred to as ascension. When the mind and soul separate from the deteriorated body laden with material desires, false identification, and lust, they carry an additional layer of misguided identity. This results in the mind yearning to return to the earth, driven by lingering desires for what it has to offer. Religious practices such as Buddhism advocate meditation to reach states of mind devoid of attachments to the material possessions so that it would prepare them for death. Achieving mastery over the soul and mind becomes paramount in preparing for life after death, where material pursuits cease to exist. So it's important for us to get to that point to where we do not yearn for these things in this world. You got to break free. You got to let go. None of this should make we should be indifferent to all this stuff. We really shouldn't be concerned about any of it. The next up we're going to talk about is Saturn. Saturn is Satan. I've got about 5 pages on that. And then we're going to go through the incarnation of the mind. So when I come back, we're going to start at that point. So I read over a little bit of Neville Goddard collection, did a book opening, read up again on the Soul Trap because I thought it was important for us to stop there. And then when we come back, probably later this evening, I'm going to read Saturn. Satan is Saturn. And we're going to talk about the cube. We're going to talk about the different rings like Nike, Capital One, Whirlpool, Toyota, Nissan, the company Saturn, NASA, NASA, just a lot of different things, how they do the programming, how the symbolism is there. And so when you start to look at like different labels and things like this, you'll be able to see, you'll be able to see through it. You'll be able to see what most people won't. Let me put it that way. So, I stopped at page 50. I got my bookmark here, so we come back. I appreciate you guys taking the time out to join me today. Sorry I went a minute. Actually, I went 2 minutes over. So I appreciate the time that you've spent with me today. And as I always say, we are eternally bonded. I'm trying not to say love, as my big brother Chief says, because he's broken down the word love. It actually does not mean that. It doesn't mean what we think it means, right? Spelling. It's just about looking up stuff and knowing. And so we are eternally bonded, and I appreciate the time that you've spent with me today. Remember what I always say, be the change that you want to see all around this planet, because it is up to you and I to make a positive change. And as my cup says backwards, you got this. All right. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.